going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here, guys. As always, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I really do appreciate it. You can show your support for the video and support for the channel by liking, commenting down below, and letting me know your thoughts on Werewolves Within. If you have seen it, I definitely want to know your thoughts. If you haven't seen it, watch this review, go watch the movie, and then come back and comment on it. I'll take all the engagement I can get. Thank you very much. Werewolves Within was directed by Josh Rubin, written by Mishna Wolf, and stars Sam Richardson, Milana Vaintrub, George Basil, Sarah Byrne, Michael Chernus, Michaela Watkins, and so many more. Josh Rubin, the director, you might be familiar with from a movie called Scare Me, which I have not gotten a chance to check out, but I'm definitely going to watch it after seeing Werewolves Within, because this movie is great. This movie was a really, really nice surprise. I just sound like Cousin Eddie unintentionally.
This is just a real nice surprise.
Coming off the heels of Fear Street 94 and then watching this one, both of these movies are just a breath of fresh air. There's so many movies that come out that are usually so focused on just brutal, sadistic violence, gnarly, just crazy shit. And honestly, it's good to just watch a movie that's just fun, that you can smile and you don't have to be horrified by for an hour and a half. I love those movies. I love my brutal, sadistic slashers. They're some of my favorite movies to watch, but sometimes it's nice to just take a breath and just watch a fun movie. And that's what I got with Werewolves Within. It's quirky mystery comedy with a fantastic cast, amazing performances, and it's all set within a genre film. What this movie basically does is take the classic murder mystery where you get a bunch of kooky characters locked in one place, and when that would normally be trying to figure out who's the murderer in a situation like Clue or Knives Out, you're trying to figure out who the werewolf is. Through a set of circumstances, all of these people end up getting locked in this bed and breakfast, and everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else, trying to figure out who this werewolf is. It's actually based off a video game that I'm not too familiar with, to be quite honest with you, so this is basically just a review of the movie. I know nothing about the game. Basically, we follow our two main characters, Sheriff Finn, which is a brand new sheriff in this town of Beaver Town or Beaver Lake or some kind of beaver, I don't know. And the first person he meets when he enters the town is the local male person, as she likes to be called, Cecily. She's kind of a loner herself, and she's kind of the liaison for Sheriff Finn. She takes him on his first day around and introduces all of the townspeople to him, and that's our first introduction to all these kooky characters that we're later going to be locked in this bed and breakfast with. Every character is super unique. They're all hilarious. The performances are great. We're introduced to a pair of mechanics, which is like a kind of a contentious couple. They're hilarious. There's a couple gay dudes who own like some kind of massage parlor who moved to this small town from the city. They kind of got a lot of money and they just came to this town to slow down or whatever. They're pretty hilarious. There's this like red, white, and blue, these colors don't run kind of right-wing couple. Those two just crack me up. There's this owner of the bed and breakfast, this sweet old lady who a couple months previous in the movie lost her husband. She thinks her husband ran off, but that may not have been what happened. And through a set of circumstances, an avalanche falls on the main in and out road, and they all end up being quarantined in this bed and breakfast, and that's where all the hilarity ensues. Like I said, it really reminded me of Clue, if you've seen that. Knives Out, which was an amazing movie if you haven't seen that. And basically, once they're all locked up together, the infighting starts, and everybody's pointing fingers at who may be to blame for all these strange occurrences that have been happening around town. These generators that have been destroyed, animals and puppies that have been killed. They find a dead body underneath the bed and breakfast, which is a hilarious scene. And things start to happen while they're inside of the bed and breakfast, and that's when they realize that it's one of them. The two main leads, Sam Richardson and Milana Vaintrub, who some of you may recognize as the T-Mobile girl. I think it's AT&T now. It was really cool to see her in something outside of a phone commercial because she has really impeccable comedic timing. She was on the YouTube series Good Neighborhood. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Good Neighborhood. It's a hilarious YouTube channel where a bunch of SNL stars got their start. She was in a bunch of their videos. She's been in the game for a long time, and she really stole the show here. Sam Richardson is great, as his character has a nice arc. At the beginning of the movie, he starts out as this real pushover, kind of wussy type of dude who's trying to gain a set of balls as his character arc goes throughout the movie. It is, I guess I haven't even mentioned the werewolf aspect of it too. And to be honest with you, this may be negative for some of you. There's not a ton of werewolf action, but there is definitely enough to satisfy the horror fans. This would be a great movie to watch if you have a couple or a boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whatever. If one of you is into horror and the other is not into horror, this is a perfect movie to sit down that you guys can both enjoy, because it's got a little bit of gore, it's got a little bit of graphic violence and the horror tropes that a horror fan like me would like, but it's not too much to put somebody off who may not dig that stuff. There's plenty of comedy. Like I said, the comedy is in the forefront of the movie, so there's plenty of that to satisfy non-horror fans. There's some really cool sequences in here. There's a really good scene where this guy gets all the skin ripped off of his hand and there's blood going everywhere. There's also a couple bloody scenes here and there, but really, for this one, it's first and foremost a comedy with the horror tropes, but I honestly can't recommend this one enough. If you're looking for something fun, you just need a fun horror movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, that isn't sadistically violent, that you're not just gonna feel like shit after you get done watching it. I think you'll really dig this. As far as any takeaways or negatives that I have about it, some could say that ultimately, like, the design of the werewolf isn't the greatest. It kind of remind me of Keanu Reeves' character in the movie Freaked. It doesn't look bad by any means. It kind of looks like a dog man in the circus more than like a werewolf, but they were clearly working with a lower budget. It's not like American Werewolf in London or Ginger Snap status, but ultimately, guys, I think you will really enjoy this movie. I wanted to shine a light on a movie because I really haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about Werewolves Within, and I think it's definitely worth a rent. Definitely worth streaming. I highly recommend checking it out. I hope you do. Let me know your thoughts on it down below. Let me know what you thought about Werewolves Within. And guys, I think we're done here. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself. Come back and check out my review for Fear Street 1978. That'll be coming up late Friday night or Saturday morning. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
I love movies. Gosh, I love movies. I love watching them, and I love making them.